Everyone, Paul here. Today I'm going to be going over MicroStrategy again, and we're going to be looking at this as a well, I've talked maybe videos about it before, but you can profit from three different ways. You can buy the stock, you can day trade it, or you can do options. Now, options is the most expensive strategy, but we're going to be looking at all three. We're going to be looking at all three scenarios of getting involved with MicroStrategy and kind of how to make the most gains out of it with MicroStrategy and focusing on MicroStrategy. Today I want to focus on the mindset of MicroStrategy, and tomorrow I'll be focusing on another topic as far as growing long-term wealth. But today let's look a little bit into MicroStrategy and how you can profit from it. Okay, so first thing I want to do is I want to look at this on a daily time frame, and I want to see, let's look at this on a weekly here, and let's look at the perspective of just holding for a while, and let's see if you're profitable if you just come in at certain points and hold this for a long period of time. So I have this on the weekly here, and let's just zoom out. And so each of these candles represent 1 week. So let's just say at the beginning of the year, you got into MicroStrategy, which was, when was that? Got a phone for January. Now, January is probably when it started going down. Here we go. So we got January here. Okay, so January of this year, let's say at the beginning you got a New Year's resolution that you wanted to start and accumulate some MicroStrategy. And that started in January of this year. Let's see, you started in the new year. Right here. You started right here. This was the beginning of the year. So if you came in here, the share price was 151 at that point. So if you came in here and you wrote it out till now, you would have been up 194%. So is it profitable? If you've done it in the last year, it's profitable. If you got in a little bit longer, right? If you got in April 2022, you would have been in the negative here. So anyway, it just depends on when you get in. But it's, in my opinion, good to have a couple shares of MicroStrategy. It all depends on when you get in. But the real profit here is not to hodl it. In my opinion, you could day trade it, or you could do options with it, and that's where you make the most money. So if you wanted to day trade this, now when I say day trade, I mean not doing options. If you wanted to day trade this on the day, and you focus on the moments where it's going up. Now I have strategies here on my trading strategy that I do for this. You can make some pretty good percentages with just trading this on a daily, couple days. If we caught this last run right here, now let me walk you through the formula again, because I do it in every single video. I get my 3 SMA right here, and I have 5 and 8 as my moving averages, and then I also have RSI and the stochastic. So what I do is I look at the longer time frames, and I look at the RSI, and the RSI will tell me the entrance point. Now I either look at this, if I'm trading it, I'll look, or if I'm trading it or doing options with it, I'll look at it on the day or the 4 hour. Those are the only time frames, because that's where you will make the most money. Nothing more than that. Nothing in a smaller time frame. But if we see right here, we see the RSI crossing right here. So this is my entry point. This is when I would get in. I use the RSI to find my entry point on the longer time frames. And then I use the stochastic to figure out when to get out. And I use the moving averages to find what the overall direction is. So all three of them have their uses. So you get in right here. If you got in right here and you just day traded it, and you after this you looked at your stochastic, and you would get out right when it crosses again, which is right about here. So this is 7 days and you made 16%. I'm going to do this 2 more times, and we're going to go into the options side of things. So we see right here, now when you're day trading it, you can only focus on when it's going up. You cannot focus when it's going down. You can only focus on getting gains when it's going up. And you know that by doing it on the longer time frames and looking at your RSI. So we see it crossed right here. And then if you rode this out for, if you day traded this for, we got to look at you probably would get out right about here, because that's when the stochastic meets up again. But this is a $59 difference in price, and you're up 28% in 7 days. So your percentages, depending on your balance, you can make some pretty good percentages on just day trading this. Now keep this in mind, that when you're day trading it and you sell, you do that all, let's say, within a day. If you did it within a day or 7 days, it takes 3 or 4 days before it shows up in your balance if you're doing a cash account. Now let's show you the formula where you make the most money, and you can make the most money when it goes up, when it goes down, but this is doing options with it. And I've made videos about this before, but let's just go look at the recent, what I would personally do. I would either look at the 4 hour or the day for signals here. So what we can get here from the RSI from the last day is it's crossed down right here. So if you got in on Friday here and it crossed down right here, and you could have rode this out. So you could have rode this out. You could have done an in the money contract and rode this out to here. And this would have been an $18 difference in price. So to give some examples here, let's look at those numbers. Let's look at how much you could potentially make in these trades. Okay, so we predicted that there was an $18 difference in price. Now, this is kind of the most challenging part of doing options. This is the most expensive, one of the most expensive stocks that you can buy, because I do in-the-money contracts, or I'm trying to get to doing in-the-money contracts, but you have to backtrack. My strategy here is you got to get to as close to this dot as possible on in-the-money contracts, and that's going to cost a little bit. So I personally, what I would do, and I would go for the 6,000, 5,000, 6,000 range, and these are not cheap contracts. But if I chose this one right here, we see how closer it is to the dot. You want to get as close to the dot as possible, because when it starts going in that direction, you'll make a lot more profit. It does cost a lot more for the contracts. It's like this one right here is 7,000, but let's just give you guys how much profit you can potentially make when you can afford those contracts. So we said that this was where we go from, it's from here to here, and that was about an $18 difference in price. So let's just kind of see what kind of profit that would be for an $18 difference in price. So we'll take that number, 436, 436, take away 18. So the number would have been at 418. Number would have made it to 418. Here we go. Whoa, there's a preview of that. 418. Okay, so that move, the move we just saw, was a $1,465 move. Now, I know for a fact that looking at these numbers that you make on average about $100 for every dollar that you're right. But that move there was about, it was what? We were looking at 418. Yeah, so we're looking at about 1,000, close to 2,000. Probably about 1,800 around there. Because you make $100 for every dollar that you're right, or around those are kind of the rough numbers here. So you can make a lot of money with MicroStrategy if you know what you're doing, if you know how to read the charts well. And I follow this formula, and it will work well in the future for me, because you use the RSI to find your entry point, use the moving averages to look at the overall direction, and you use the stochastic to know when to exit, because it will touch base with in overlap with the other line, and that's when you know when to get out. I only do these on the day and the 4 hour. I wait for signals because I focus on long-term profit here. So it will cost a lot to do these with these contracts. So if that's not in anybody's budget, what I would focus on doing first, if you don't have the budget to pay for these contracts, I would focus on doing other stocks that pay a little bit less. You know, I do SPY, McDonald's. There's a couple other ones that would return you some small returns when you're doing options trading, but it won't be as much as MicroStrategy. But eventually, over time, you should be able to get there. My end game is being able to do MicroStrategy contracts and scaling them up. Right now, that's not in my budget to do options trading, but you also have the scenario where you can day trade it. You can day trade it, get a little bit of small percentage gains, and buy and sell, and doing it that way. Or you can just buy into the stock. But anyway, this stock here has pretty high percentages. That's why MicroStrategy here is my end goal. As far as options trading and stock goes. In the future, I'll let you know how well that's going. But from now, in order to profit from this, in order to make the big profit, you would need to do options trading with it. But if it's not in your budget, I would do the smaller stocks, like I've mentioned, SPY. There's a lot. There's Waste Management. There's SPY. There's McDonald's. There's a whole bunch of. Just use the same formula that I have showed you guys with doing MicroStrategy. I focus on the signals on the day and the 4 hour to find my signals. I look at the RSI to find my entrance. I look at the moving averages to find the overall direction, and I use the stochastic to find out a good exit point. But anyway, if you guys like this video, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys in future videos.